Hi, today we're going to cover registration with pins and without pins. So some of us have registration pins, some of us don't. And so I'm going to show you first a very simple way of doing 3-point registration with a right angle registration form for hand printing. Okay, So you want to make sure you have a right angle on your paper and you have a right angle on your registration frame. All right. I have added to my registration frame more pieces of wood to bring out the border of the paper. If I wanted an even wider margin, I could use more of these panels. And they all fit it at right angles and give you a wider and wider border if you're using larger paper. So then I'm going to put my paper into the registration frame and line up the right angle. And then I'm going to use my T-square to make a straight edge going across. And drawing it continuing onto the registration frame. And at my center line, I'm going to have another point of registration. So when you take this paper off and put another color block into this right angle, then you can put this paper right back in position and print for another color. Okay, so for pin registration, it's basically the same type of process, but you're using the pins, and it's a slightly more accurate method. I have a very simple 3-punch, hole punch registration punch, and it goes, so you put your paper in. This is for the edge margin. And I have it set to 2 3/4 inches, which is the same margin as this over here. So you put it in, make sure it's lined up and flat against the back stop. Make your punches. And you have your 3-hole punch, and then you have your pins. Put it into the right angle, and then underneath you're going to reach underneath and put in your pins. Make sure everything's lined up really at the right angle. And then you're going to take those registration pins down, and they're going to stay there until you're finished with this print. This is the tricky part. You don't want your registration pins to move while you're getting them taped down. You really want to rub it in there. Make sure that they're very secure so they're not going to move on you. Because if they do, then your registration won't be as accurate. So you have all your paper torn down and your proofing sheets torn down for your edition, all to the same size. And then you punch each piece with these corresponding holes. and then each piece will go onto these registration pins, and every print will be in the same position on the paper. So notice that the holes are pretty close to the edge of the paper. You don't want to get any closer than I am here, because then it could tear. But you do want them fairly close, because in the end you're going to have to tear these off. So let's broaden our margin on the top so that when you do tear it off, you have enough room to tear, and you can tear it to the same margin as you have on the left and right.